Hello, Ipswich. My name's Tony Marino, and I am your town manager. I'm joined here today. We're going to have Dr. Brian Blake for the Ipswich schools, and we've got Colleen Furman, our public health director, Lieutenant John Hubbard, who's our emergency management director, and as always, we have Chris Bevilacqua, who's from the YMCA. Shayla Taylor is on vacation this week, well deserved, so she will not be joining us today, but we have the regular cast with us. I just want to give a few updates. Ipswich town meeting has been set. That is set for Saturday, June 27th at 9 a.m. and it will be held outdoors on the grass field in the back parking lot there in front of the tennis courts. Opposite the football field, there's a grass area where they practice football and use for other sports activities. We're going to have a tent up there with no sides. All the chairs will be set up 6 feet apart, chair to chair, which actually gives you a little more space there. And we're also going to have the capability, we're going to be broadcasting over an FM transmitter, which will allow us to put the town meeting on a radio station. So the plan is we're going to use the electronic voting clickers that we tested out before a year ago at town meeting. And we're going to allow seniors and whoever wants to stay in their car to come up. They'll be able to check in with the clerks and get a warrant and a clicker, and they'll be able to stay in their cars, and that will count, and they'll be able to participate in town meeting. Keeping in mind that, as our seniors are our most vulnerable population, we want to make sure that they're, safe. Those safety precautions are put in place. So anybody not comfortable sitting 6 feet apart outside under the tent will have the ability to participate in town meeting in their vehicle. Those are just some of the safety precautions. We're also going to have masks. Everybody needs to wear masks. We'll have some portable toilets available for people to use, one of them being handicap accessible, and we'll have runners available to ask questions so we don't have to have people getting up and going to a mic. Once you're in your chair, you can stay there and be 6 feet apart, and we'll be able to get the questions to the moderator. It will be an abbreviated warrant. There's only 14 articles on it. One of them is a citizen's petition that will be indefinitely postponed. So there'll be 13 financial articles that the town will be asked to vote on, the standard ones that we do. The consent agenda, town and school budget, moving some funds around to stabilization and special education funding. And then the last piece of that will be a few water main articles for the Water Enterprise Fund for some borrowing that we need to do projects. And that'll basically be the warrant for the most part. So we're asking you to come out. Again, right now we have a quorum of 200. So we're asking everybody, this will be an historic town meeting in historic Ipswich. Hopefully we only have to do one of these, but this will certainly be different than the norm. But we can pull it off safely, and we're asking everybody to please feel free to come out. We do need to hit our quorum of 200 so we can have our town meeting. We don't anticipate it'll take more than an hour and a half. But that's the plan right now. More updates on that. We'll also be doing a show with moderator Tom Murphy and the chair of the Finance Committee, Janice Skelton, and myself. We'll have a little more details on what's going on, but that's coming up as well, so keep an eye out on your ICAM programming for that. And we'll also do like we do now. We'll put it out on social media and out on the other YouTube channels and things like that. So with that, I'm going to pass it over now to Dr. Brian Blake, and he'll give you an update on what's going on with the schools.
Just a few updates and reminders for this week. We're closing in on the end of the school year. Thankfully for parents and teachers alike, we have 3 weeks of school left. Plans are coming together to celebrate the end of the year events in each of the schools. Graduation is planned for June 13 at the Crane Beach non-resident parking lot at 8:30. The senior baccalaureate ceremony will be pre-recorded and broadcast via ICAM. At the middle level, plans are in the works for a drive-up celebration for 8th graders on Tuesday, June 16th at 8 p.m. The elementary schools will have their moving on celebrations for 5th graders on Monday, June 15th. Winthrop will hold theirs at 10 a.m. and the Paul F. Doyon Memorial School will be at 6 o'clock. And those will essentially be drive-through celebrations. We're putting safeguards in place to be able to open the central office to the public on a limited basis beginning Monday, June 1st. Our hours will be from 9 to 1, Monday through Friday to start. Extended school year programming will likely be done remotely, given the ongoing concerns and availability of protective equipment for students and staff. Extended year programming will begin on July 6th, and we're still trying to work out the details of what exactly that will look like. There is a group formed at the state level to provide recommendations for the reopening of schools in the fall. The School Facilities Working Group of the School Committee is also shifting its focus on the reopening of schools, and we're looking at developing a number of different scenarios, everything from a full opening to a combined remote and in-person class schedule to continuing on with some form of remote learning for all students. So, out of necessity, we're looking at all of those options at this point, and other combinations of things in between. Our food service program continues to provide meals, and will continue to do so at least through the end of the school year. And those meals are eligible for all students in need, not just those on free and reduced lunch. Again, the meal delivery locations are Rosewood from 11:30 to 12:30, Winthrop School from 11:30 to 12:30, Agawam Village from 11:30 to 12:15, and Powder House Village from 12:15 to 12:30. And those meals are provided such that on Fridays we're providing meals for the weekends as well, and all those meals are reimbursable by the state and some other organizations. The track will be open beginning this week, and the turf field usage rules will be put back in effect as they were prior to the pandemic necessitating the closure of the track. And one final reminder, the census is still going on. If you haven't completed the census for your household, please do so. It's important for future school funding, and so it's important that we have as much participation in the census as we possibly can. And that's it for this week. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Brian. That also, before we bring in our next guest, I did want to remind everybody that Cranes Beach is open. Obviously, a limited capacity on the trustees side, and then if you have an Ipswich beach sticker, same rules apply. You can go without reserving a spot and just park in the parking lot. What I will remind Ipswich residents is that even though we do have the luxury of having our own parking lot, the same social distancing rules applies on the beach. We want to make sure we're careful as we put people out there that we're maintaining the 6 feet apart. All the rules that were required, they'll be posted up at the beach, but make sure all the social distancing guidelines are followed on the beach. We don't want to get into a situation where we have to call out for enforcement and potentially have to, close the beach because people aren't following the rules, which is a risk at all beaches across not only Massachusetts but the United States. So we want to make sure that we're following the social distance guidelines so we can actually enjoy the beach all summer. So please make sure we're vigilant about that, and we appreciate all the hard work up to now, but we want to make sure we can have a long, enjoyable summer. So thank you. And with that, I'm going to bring in Colleen Furman, our Public Health Director. She'll be here to give us an update on what's going on from the public health side and with regard to the phased opening as well.
Hi. I just wanted to review again the case count. I know Tony had mentioned we have 62 cases and 10 under isolation, and there are 76 contacts and 15 people under quarantine. So our numbers are still looking pretty good. I think it really shows that we're making some improvement when you look at the case count by months. So in March, we had 9 cases. In April, 42, and in May to date, we've had 11. So we're on a good path. And it's really important that people continue to follow the guidelines the governor outlined, his safer at home stance, which is essentially still trying to minimize going out for non-essential things. When you do go out, to wear a mask when you can't socially distance outside, and certainly masks inside public places. And then lastly, looking at limiting gatherings to 10 or less. If you're outside in unconfined open space, that you don't have to worry about that as much, but I still think it's a really good policy to try to limit your interaction with others. It's really hard to know who is sick, who is asymptomatic and could be transmitting the disease, even though they're unaware of it. So as much as we can do to still follow those important protocols, it will go a long way to try to keep our case count low, and hopefully we're going to be on a good path all summer. Now that it's nice out, a lot of people want to go to the beach, and that's fine. Beaches are open. You do want to remember that you have to socially distance at the beach. So when you're walking on the beach, you want to be 6 feet away from other people. When you're loading and unloading from your car, the same thing. Standing in the restroom line, social distancing still applies. You want to have 6 feet between you and another person. When you're on your towel or blanket, these blankets and towels should be 12 feet from another family, person, or group. So your family could sit together, that's fine, but you want to make sure when you place your towel down, you're 12 feet apart. That allows people to still walk through and still maintain social distancing, so that's why it's important. Masks are not supposed to be worn when swimming, so you want to make sure you don't do that. As much as we want to promote wearing masks, you don't want to do that in the water. That would be very unsafe. And any organized ball games, volleyball, as far as football, soccer, any of those games you normally like to play at the beach, those are prohibited, so you don't want to do that. We don't want people coming together in contact sports or impacting the people around them. So as far as the governor's 4-phase plan he announced on May 18th, you can find all the details right on mass.gov. There's a link at the top that says Reopening Massachusetts, and that will provide you all the details, and there's a lot. So there are mandatory workplace safety standards that any business that's allowed to open under phase 1 and any of the essential businesses that have been operating must follow, and the details are there. There's also sector-specific protocols for those businesses that were allowed to open, and some of that is focusing on the best ways to minimize the impact of the virus on customers and employees. So it's important that if you're a business person, that you're familiar with your sector-specific guidance. There's also a chart for those who aren't allowed to open during phase 1. There's a chart that shows where you might likely fall in phase 2 or phase 3. The greatest challenge is right now we don't have a date when phase 2 would open. Essentially, we're looking at how phase 1 goes, so the governor will look at least 3 weeks of data before any changes are made. Possibly, phase 1 could go longer than 3 weeks. There is no set date, but a minimum of 3 weeks was listed in his outline. As far as the big other item we're hearing about on top of some of the businesses is outdoor recreation. As always, parks and open space are open, hiking and walking, and jogging, running, biking where it's all allowed. So those things are still open and everyone is still able to do that. You do want to have masks if there's going to be a chance maybe in a congested area where there's not a lot of room to spread out. You have a mask so if you can't get that 6 feet apart. Outside of that, there are no organized games or tournaments, so you want to make sure that you understand that. So I know a lot of people want to look at Little League and things of that nature. They are not planned in phase 1. The clarification we got recently is that tennis courts are allowed, tennis lessons are allowed. So tennis and pickleball were called out as non-contact sports, and those could move forward. Other games and activities that for the most part are on hold. Again, all this information can be found at mass.gov. There's an outdoor recreation link, and you're welcome to review that. And if you still have questions, you can reach out to the health department. And hopefully we will help clarify any of this. We're learning it ourselves as it rolls out, but we're happy to share it with each sector as we get it, and we'll reach out. But if for some reason you're not seeing emails or you're not feeling comfortable with the guidelines, just give us a call at the Public Health Department, and we're happy to help you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Colleen. We appreciate it. And also on that, with regard to the next phase and opening, as they start to loosen the restrictions in restaurants open for limited seating inside and possibly outdoor seating. Know that we are in constant contact with the business owners. We're trying to come up with a plan where the town could possibly assist, whether it's closing off a section of the street or creating some outdoor seating somewhere in the Market Street area. We are working on those plans. Nothing's been finalized yet, and we certainly have a lot of logistical things to work out, but we are trying to work with the business owners so when that next phase opens, that we'll be ready to assist to try to increase some outdoor seating and allow the restaurants to have some more business available to them rather than just a limited capacity inside their establishments. And with that, I am going to bring in our next guest, will be Chris Bevilacqua from the YMCA to give us an update what's going on there.
Thanks, Tony. Over at the Y, we are continuing to prepare for eventual opening of camp and facilities, again, based on guidelines handed down by the governor. Currently, we are finalizing our camp sanitation and social distancing plans, as well as our staffing and curriculum to prepare for an eventual opening in Phase 2 and provide camp opportunities out at Camp Cedar Mill in Rowley, as well as our Camp Dory location in Essex. We're also looking at potentially offering some outdoor classes prior to Phase 3 based on, again, guidelines that came down from the governor. So we are in the initial phases of preparing those classes, identifying them, and getting them set up. As we have them set up and prepared, we will be letting the community know what is available. Working on that this week. Hope to have more information up and ready to go for next week. In addition, we have added a little more to our mental health support on our website for our members. So we've been working with Children's Friends and Family and their clinicians to provide some resources for folks that might be struggling with mental wellness during the quarantine time. So make sure everyone has the resources they need to make sure that they stay healthy both mentally and physically, and that's been really great. We've got a video coming up next week that their clinicians have filmed that folks will be able to click on and watch to get some coping techniques for isolation, depression, those kinds of things. And when it comes to community, we have got the drive-in movie. So we picked June 5th as the date for our drive-in movie, the one that we're doing in collaboration with the town. This is going to be happening at the high school parking lot, so not the Route 1A side, but the back side of the building there. 8 o'clock movie is when people can start arriving. The movie starts at 8:30. Registration opened today and filled very quickly, so unfortunately we do not have any spots currently available. We're looking at possibly opening a few more. If that becomes an option, we will list that on the event page. If you want to know more about the event, you can go to the Ipswich Wise Facebook page, and the event is listed there. We will be showing Toy Story 4. Should be a fun night, so good opportunity for folks to get out of their house, do something together, maybe go out, order some takeout from a local restaurant, support the local community, and just have a fun night out. So there will be more on that as we move forward, and talking about the possibility to do more of these moving forward into the summer to make sure that we can give everyone an opportunity to get out and partake in these kinds of events. Other than that, the only other thing we've been doing is working with the senior center. So again, looking at vulnerable populations in the community, talking with Sheila Taylor at the Council on Aging to make sure that they have what they need. So one of the things we heard is they needed some classes, some access to some virtual exercise classes. What we've done is we've identified 11 of our classes that we created for members and made them public. Gentle stretch, kind of low impact exercise classes for seniors to keep them physically healthy, and we're sharing that out with the community to make sure that anybody that needs that access can get it. So head over to our website. You can see right on the page there's links to all these great classes that we have filmed, and an opportunity for folks in the senior population to get out and stay active. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. More to come, and look forward to talking to everyone next week. Thanks, Tony.
All right, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. And while we have Chris here, one thing I did forget to mention is we have the town election coming up. While I said town meeting would be June 27th, the select board has set the town election for Tuesday, June 30th. It'll be limited hours this year, given we'll be offering up absentee ballots and mail-in voting for everybody to use, and the town clerk will get that information out. But the actual polls themselves will only be open for 4 hours, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. On Tuesday, June 30th at the YMCA. So I just want to remind everybody about that. We have all of the town election candidates up. There aren't any contested races right now, but the election will happen again on Tuesday, June 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the YMCA. And with that, I'm going to bring up our last guest, and Lieutenant John Hubbard will give us an update on what's going on with the state and our emergency management plans as we continue with the COVID-19 crisis.
Just a couple quick updates from the emergency management side of things. Once again, we still do our weekly conference call with MEMA on Thursdays. We were doing bi-weekly calls, but they've lowered it down to just weekly. So every Thursday we have conference calls. I've been driving back and forth to Tewksbury almost weekly now, picking up PPE supplies that MEMA's been giving to each city and town, and I've been distributing those to the police, the fire, and to Council on Aging. And I was also able to provide some PPE for town hall workers for their reopening, so they have the equipment they need. I'll be going back out there tomorrow because they're doing a new program where they're going to be distributing some cloth masks for the police departments. So when we go on calls to people's homes, if we have to deal with people and they don't have masks, we can provide masks for them to wear while we're interacting with them. And I will also be giving some of those masks to the Council on Aging. So if there's anybody out there who is in need of a mask, please contact the Council on Aging or the police department, and we can try to get you in touch with a cloth mask that's reusable and washable so you can go out in public and do the things you need to do. So those are the things we're working on right now. We're also going to start our reimbursement process for the equipment the town's bought. And I'm going to start getting that paperwork together from all town departments so we can submit that reimbursement. On the police side of things are starting to get busy again with summer coming, just as they do normally. It's going to be a little bit more challenging this year with the COVID situation going on and the social distancing rules. So I just would encourage everybody to be patient, drive slowly, and try to respect everyone. I know we're all in a tough time, but now's the right time to just take a little extra time out of your day to just be kind and don't be in a rush. And also, if you are experiencing any mental health issues, we still are having a lot of issues with this because people are so isolated. Please feel to reach out to us, give us a call, and we'll get you in touch with the right services you need to help you get through this. Like I said, we're all in this together, so please, just be patient and work together. Thanks, Tony.
All right, thanks, John. And one topic that's on everybody's mind, and if you can maybe give us a quick update as to what's the status of the wharf project, and are they still on schedule, as far as you know?
Yep. Yeah, I've been checking with them almost daily. They're doing very good work. So what happened, I'm sure a lot of people know, when they went to reclaim the decking from the ramp, they realized that the wall structure was a lot more deteriorated than they thought, and if they had pulled the deck up, the walls would have fallen into the river. So they've reclaimed the walls, and they're going to actually put together a much nicer project for us that'll last a lot longer. But yes, they are on pace, and last I checked, they should be pouring concrete by the end of this week, early next week. Their completion date was June 14th. So they should finish up hopefully a couple days early. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up because things can change weather-wise and such, but they are definitely a little bit ahead of schedule right now, so that's encouraging.
All right, great. Thank you very much, John. We appreciate it. And also, just to wrap up, I do want to remind everybody, we had Town Hall open for the first time to the public last week. Again, Monday through Thursday, the hours of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then on Friday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. That went very smooth last week. I want to thank all the residents and the Town Hall staff. We have some new safety protocols in place there with some additional glass shields and stanchions and traffic flow patterns and things like that. But everything went smooth. We didn't have any issues. We did have a little rush when we first opened last Tuesday morning, but that everybody got in. Most of those were beach stickers. Some people wanted to get in and get their beach stickers, rightfully so. But everything's been running smooth. So we're going to keep those hours in place for now. We may look to increase them down the road, but for the foreseeable future, that will be the schedule for Town Hall, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and on Friday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. So keep an eye on the website for any changes to that schedule, but that is the schedule right now for the foreseeable future. So that concludes our programming for this week. So thank you, Ipswich, for tuning in. We will be back next week with another update. And if you have any questions, again, you can either go to our website on our COVID page at ipswichma.gov, or you can call the town manager's office at 978-356-6609. Again, 978-356-6609. Thank you and have a great week.